Across parts of Africa, archaeologists have uncovered surprising evidence that deadly epidemics once swept through ancient communities, changing the course of history. In West Africa, especially in present-day Ghana, and further south in the Limpopo River basin of South Africa, researchers have found signs of mass illness and community collapse that go back hundreds of years. One particularly striking example comes from a site called Akoa in Ghana. In the 14th century, what was once a thriving urban settlement was suddenly abandoned. The cause? Most likely an outbreak of an unknown epidemic that left the city desolate. Meanwhile, further south in the Limpopo Valley, excavations revealed a disturbing rise in child deaths around the year 1000. The number of infant graves from that period tells a somber story. Before these outbreaks, the people in these areas had built complex societies. Agriculture, metalwork, animal husbandry, and trade were all part of their daily life. But once the disease hit, entire cities vanished. Layers of ash and scattered animal bones in the earth paint a picture of not just death, but chaos. These ancient pandemics didn't just take lives, they reshaped entire regions. Interestingly, when we compare this with findings in the Middle East, patterns emerge. On the Alenia archipelago of the Canine Peninsula, in what is now the UAE, the ancient city of Tuam experienced a rapid population decline around the 6th century. Legends tell of its golden age powered by pearl trade and global exchange. But then everything collapsed. That timeline happens to line up with the Justinian plague, an early form of the bubonic plague that devastated the Mediterranean and North Africa. Scientists have even detected traces of Yersinia pestis, the plague-causing bacterium, in human remains from that area, linking it directly to the same disease that would later decimate Europe during the Black Death. These events didn't just cause temporary setbacks, they sparked massive migrations, cultural shifts, and changed how and where people lived. Thanks to ongoing archaeology, we are beginning to understand how deeply pandemics shaped the early civilizations of both Africa and the Middle East. Alien Mountain in Sri Lanka. In the heart of Sri Lanka's tropical wilderness stands a towering, mysterious rock formation known to locals as Danigala, but to many others, Alien Mountain. Its flat, oddly symmetrical summit and remote location have sparked both scientific curiosity and local legend. For years, strange lights have been reported in the skies above this site. Unexplained flashes, glows, and flying objects that some believe are not of this world. But, beyond the mystery, scientists have found something just as fascinating. A research team from the South Asian Institute of Paleoscience and Earth Studies recently surveyed the mountain's northwestern slope. What they discovered was a massive collection of ancient petroglyphs, rock carvings, etched directly into the cliffs. These carvings include human figures, animals, abstract lines, and symbols arranged in distinct patterns. Some seem too deliberate to be random, leading a few researchers to suggest they may represent ancient star maps or calendars. The rock layers surrounding the carvings date them back as far as 12,000 to 30,000 years, deep into the Paleolithic period. Nearby caves contain hearths and stone tools, suggesting that people lived or gathered here for spiritual or ceremonial reasons. Yet oddly, no bones, artifacts, or burial sites have been found to link these carvings to a specific ancient culture. It's still a mystery who made them and why. Some scholars believe the symbols may be a kind of proto-writing or a form of early astronomy. Others remain cautious, noting that there's no hard proof yet. As for the UFO stories, scientists are still trying to figure those out. Atmospheric experts, astronomers, and geologists are all looking into natural explanations, but so far, nothing has been confirmed. What's clear is that Danigala remains a remarkable and largely unexplored site. Unraveling its full story will take years of work across disciplines: archaeology, geology, climate science, and more.
Can time flow backward? It sounds like science fiction, but it's a question real physicists are asking. Can time move in reverse? In our everyday experience, time only flows one way, past to future. But when scientists look at the universe at a quantum level, things get weird. In some experiments, tiny particles seem to behave as if time doesn't have a clear direction. Under certain conditions, especially when no one is watching, particles can enter what's called a time-reversed state, where they appear to return to where they started. This doesn't break any known laws of physics. It's just that, on a tiny scale, time is a bit more flexible than we thought. That said, it's incredibly hard to observe this effect outside the lab. The bigger the system, the more things interfere, making reverse time practically impossible in the real world. Still, the possibility that time isn't strictly linear opens the door to a whole new way of thinking about reality. Maybe time isn't a straight line, but a field with multiple directions, only one of which we're aware of. So far, these ideas remain firmly in the realm of theory. But if they hold up under further testing, they could rewrite everything we thought we knew about the universe, and maybe even the nature of consciousness itself. Creatures of the ice, monster legends in the cold north. From the icy rivers of Alaska and Canada to the snow-covered mountains of Japan, stories have long circulated about strange creatures lurking beneath frozen waters. These aren't just ghost stories. They're deeply rooted in local cultures and are taken seriously by those who've spent generations living with the land. In North America, indigenous communities have passed down tales of serpent-like beings gliding under ice-covered rivers. Early European settlers recorded similar sightings. Witnesses describe long, dark shapes slipping just beneath the ice's surface, sometimes dragging trails of frost or breaking through thin layers. Scientists say that some of these sightings might have natural explanations. Massive cold water fish like sturgeon, shifts in the ice, or underwater currents can all create strange illusions. But many locals insist what they saw was different, and that's prompted scientists to dig deeper, wondering if there might be undiscovered species still hiding in remote regions. In Japan, similar stories have emerged from frozen lakes high in the mountains. Here too, creatures with snake-like forms or giant fins are part of ancient folklore, blending spiritual beliefs with ecological observation. Whether mythical or real, these stories reveal something fascinating: a deep human instinct to connect mysterious natural phenomena with meaning. And in some cases, those mysteries might still be waiting to be solved. Legends of Snow and Sea, creatures of Japan's cold frontiers. High in the snowy mountains of northern Japan, where winter settles in like a myth made real, stories have long been told of a figure cloaked in white, the Yuki-onna, or Snow Woman. She's not merely a ghost from folk tales. Among families living in remote villages, She's remembered as a chilling presence who appears in blizzards, her pale face glimpsed between flurries. She's beauty and danger embodied, a reminder that nature, while stunning, can also turn deadly without warning. In these regions, a legend isn't dismissed as fantasy. For generations, it shaped daily life. Rituals were performed before travel. Warnings were passed down. To speak of the Yuki Onna wasn't to tell a scary story, it was to prepare for survival in a place where snowstorms could arrive suddenly and take everything. Far to the south, near Japan's frozen ocean edges, another mystery lingers. The Ningen. This elusive creature, said to be massive, white, and human-like in shape, has been reported by fishermen and polar researchers drifting beneath ice sheets in Antarctica's waters. Descriptions are eerily consistent. Slow movement, a smooth, pale body, and a silence that unsettles even the most seasoned sailors. Skeptics suggest tricks of light or drifting icebergs are to blame. Others believe deep-sea animals distorted by pressure and shadows could account for the sightings. Still, no one has proven what the Ningen is, or isn't. It remains on the edge of possibility, where myth and science often meet. What these legends tell us more than anything is that humans create meaning in mystery. We look into snowstorms or out across icy oceans, and when we don't find answers, we craft stories to hold the unknown. In doing so, we make sense of a world that often doesn't explain itself.
What lies beneath? Fossils in ice and time. In the most unexpected places, under glaciers, frozen tundra, and once unreachable cliffs, traces of lost worlds are starting to emerge. As scientists dig into ancient ice and sediment, they are finding a past that looks nothing like the present. Long before the poles froze solid, these regions were lush and alive. Evidence from ancient tree stumps, fossilized ferns, and long-buried pollen reveals forests that once thrived under sunlit skies in what's now Arctic darkness. It's almost impossible to imagine. Thick woods growing near the North Pole, ferns brushing against the legs of mammoths and saber-toothed cats. Alongside these plants are the bones of giants, mammoths with spiraled tusks, enormous cave bears, giant ground sloths, and saber-toothed predators once roamed where now only snow remains. These animals weren't just bigger, they lived in ecosystems bursting with life, supported by long-growing seasons and steady climates. Even beneath today's deserts and grasslands, fossils of ancient seabeds have been found. Corals, massive fish, and marine reptiles once swam through warm inland oceans that have long since vanished. Many of these creatures grew larger than their modern descendants, a testament to the richness of their world. The patterns in these layers tell a story not only of life, but of change. Over millions of years, Earth shifted between hot, thriving periods and cold, desolate ones. As climates changed, some species vanished, others adapted. But through it all, life never stopped finding a way. Vanishing ice, emerging worlds, a new era of discovery. As the Earth warms and glaciers retreat, we are not just watching the future unfold, we are uncovering the past. In Mongolia's highlands, melting ice is revealing arrowheads, bones, and remnants of early horse-riding cultures that once ruled the steppe. The tools left behind,
show how people adapted to cold, harsh landscapes by mastering movement, herding, and survival. In the Alps, thawing peaks have exposed something even more haunting: ancient clothing, weapons, and even entire bodies. The most famous is Ötzi the Iceman, frozen in ice for over 5 millennia. He carried everything he needed to survive: a copper axe, a quiver of arrows, a cloak of woven grass. He died on the move, and now he speaks across time. But there's a race underway. As soon as organic artifacts are exposed to air, they begin to rot. Cloth, leather, fur, they can disintegrate within hours. What ice preserved for thousands of years can be lost in a day. To respond, archaeologists now rely on drones, mobile labs, and satellite data. They rush to document and conserve these materials before they are gone forever. What began as accidental discovery has become urgent science, a fight not just to learn, but to protect. Each object pulled from the melting ground adds a thread to our story. And while the reasons behind this rapid thaw are troubling, the chance to witness forgotten lives, frozen in time, is one of the most extraordinary gifts archaeology has ever received. Nan Madol, a lost city, built on coral. Rising quietly from the Pacific Ocean, off the island of Pohnpei, lies Nan Madol, a ruined city built not on land, but atop a coral reef. Spanning over 90 small artificial islands and stitched together by canals, this ancient site has stood against centuries of tides, storms, and silence. Made from basalt stones, some weighing more than 50 tons, Nan Madol is one of the great mysteries of human engineering. No wheels, no cranes, no clear record of how it came to be. Local legend says sorcerers flew the stones into place. Scientists aren't quite ready to accept that version, but they are just as puzzled. How could such immense stones have been moved across rough terrain, over water, and stacked with such precision, using only the tools of a pre-industrial society? Most estimates place the city's peak between the 13th and 17th centuries, but signs of earlier habitation stretch much further back. It may have been a royal center, a ceremonial site, or something altogether different. The purpose is lost, only the stones remain. Today, Nan Madol is quiet, remote and largely unvisited. It sits half submerged in mystery. But for those who venture there, it offers something few places still can: a tangible sense of awe, that someone long ago built something extraordinary and left behind no clear explanation why. Unfreezing time. What Earth's coldest places are teaching us about Mars. Beneath the silent sheets of ice that cloak Earth's most remote corners, something remarkable is happening. Scientists are beginning to uncover clues locked away for millennia. Clues not just about our own planet, but possibly about others too. In these frozen landscapes, buried minerals are slowly transformed, not by roaring rivers or violent tectonics, but by the quiet, crushing patience of ice. It's a revelation that has started to reshape our assumptions about Mars. For years, Geologists believed that Martian minerals were shaped by liquid water flowing across its surface. But recent studies suggest a subtler process, that ice, pressure, and time might have done the sculpting instead. That means Mars may not have needed rivers to produce the mineral patterns we see today. Glacial activity alone, under ancient layers of dust and frost, might have written the Martian geological story. But this isn't just about rocks on another world. Here on Earth, these findings are cracking open new pages in the story of our climate's past. Each mineral tells a tale of shifting temperatures, vanished ecosystems, and the delicate balance of water, ice, and time. It's a reminder that even in the quietest places, history is still speaking, if we know how to listen. Mishkap, the whispering god of wind and laughter. In the snow-covered forests of northern Quebec, the Innu people speak of a spirit that drifts through their lives in the most unexpected way. His name is Mishkap. And while outsiders might chuckle at the translation, the Fat god holds a place of genuine reverence in Innu tradition. This isn't just folklore for amusement. In Innu cosmology, everything is alive: rocks, rivers, fire, and breath. Mishkap is more than a trickster. He's a voice, a sign. His presence is felt not through grand visions or thunderous omens, but in the smallest, most human of events. A sound that rises, uninvited, into the silence. In that moment, something sacred has spoken. Hunters pause, elders nod, and sometimes the community changes its course, canceling a trip, delaying a ritual, or offering thanks. They interpret the sign with care, knowing that what the body releases might carry the weight of warning or blessing. Anthropologists who have spent time with the Innu describe this belief not with mockery, but awe. Mishkap reveals a world where nothing is too small to matter, where the boundaries between the sacred and the mundane are thin as breath, and where even what we hide in embarrassment might be, in the right light, the voice of a god. Did Atlantis once lie beneath Antarctica? In the mid-20th century, a quiet but bold idea took root, one that questioned everything we thought we knew about Earth's deep past. It came from geologist Charles Hapgood, who suggested that the planet's outer crust didn't always stay still. According to him, the Earth's shell could, and perhaps once did, slide dramatically over the molten interior beneath, shifting entire continents in the blink of geological time. This theory, known as Earth crust displacement, wasn't just a scientific curiosity. It hinted at a buried history, quite literally. Hapgood believed that Antarctica, now a frozen wasteland, may once have rested closer to the equator, basking in temperate climates and possibly home to a forgotten civilization. His most controversial piece of evidence, a centuries-old map, drawn in 1513 by Ottoman Admiral Piri Reis, the map appears to show a remarkably detailed coastline at the bottom of the world, one that many believe resembles Antarctica's edge, but without the ice. How, skeptics asked, could someone map a frozen landmass 3 centuries before its discovery? Hapgood's answer was simple. The map was based on older sources, perhaps copies of even more ancient charts, dating back to a time when Antarctica was still ice-free. If that's true, the implications are staggering. It would mean an entire civilization existed and mapped the world long before history remembered them. Some even connected to the myth of Atlantis. He placed the crustal shift around 12,000 years ago, during a period of dramatic climate change and rising seas. In his view, the sliding crust dragged Antarctica southward, entombing it in ice and hiding all signs of life beneath miles of snow and silence. Mainstream science, however, remains unconvinced. While there's no denying that ancient ice cores tell stories of wild climate shifts, no direct archaeological evidence has ever been found beneath the Antarctic ice cap. No temples, no tools, no tombs. But the questions remain. And so does the fascination, because sometimes mystery lives just long enough for science to catch up.
Glastonbury Tor, Arthur's resting place, or medieval marketing. High on a hill in Somerset, England, Glastonbury Tor rises like something pulled from a dream. Wind-worn and watchful, crowned with the ruins of St. Michael's Tower, it's a place where myth and memory blur into one. For centuries, the Tor has been linked to the legend of King Arthur. That connection became lore in the 12th century, when monks at nearby Glastonbury Abbey claimed they had discovered two ancient coffins, marked, they said, as belonging to Arthur and Guinevere. The news swept across Britain, drawing pilgrims, wealth, and wonder. But not everyone was convinced. Even at the time, skeptics wondered whether the discovery had less to do with divine fate and more to do with financial struggle. The abbey had suffered a fire, and the holy tomb would surely bring in support. Convenient, some thought. Perhaps too convenient. Modern archaeology hasn't found much to support the story. Artifacts uncovered near the Tor mostly date to the medieval period. No clear evidence of royal burials, no crown, no sword. Yet the legend lives on. Because Glastonbury isn't just a hill, it's a symbol of lost kings, sacred power, and the deep yearning humans have for a truth beyond the veil of history. Whether Arthur rests beneath its soil or not, the Tor still draws those who believe in something more. The Black Knight, Justice in the Shadows. From the misty edges of medieval Europe comes a figure cloaked in darkness, armor as black as night, riding through history like a whispered prayer for justice. He is the Black Knight, noble outlaw, fearsome avenger, or something else entirely. These shadowy warriors began appearing in ballads and epics around the 13th century. They were not kings or lords, not tied to land or bloodline. They belonged to no crown, answered to no church. And yet, they fought when others would not, for those who had no voice. Some tales speak of Asher, a knight who defied tyrant kings and paid with exile. Others tell of roving bands of black knights who protected villages, appearing only when needed, then vanishing into forest and fog. Were they real? No one knows for sure. But they were needed. In a world of injustice and shifting power, the Black Knight offered hope. A reminder that sometimes justice rides alone. The church tried to ban the stories, too dangerous, too subversive, but they survived, passed on by firelight, ink, and memory. Because the Black Knight wasn't just a man, he was an idea, and ideas once born are hard to bury. Arctic anomalies, what moves beneath the ice? Beneath the frozen silence of the Arctic, strange whispers have begun to echo. For decades, Military operations and scientific missions have reported odd readings from deep beneath the polar ice. Objects moving too fast, too smoothly, picked up by sonar, radar, and satellite. No engines, no trails, no heat, just motion. At first, they were dismissed. Glitches in equipment, tricks of pressure or temperature. But the reports kept coming. Some say these objects dart through icy waters at speeds no human-made sub can reach, shifting direction in ways that defy known physics. They don't answer calls. They leave no trace. And yet they move. Are they alien? Ancient? Something we've buried in history and forgotten? Skeptics point to natural causes, underwater currents, seismic shifts, even icebergs playing tricks on sensors. And in truth, no physical evidence has ever been recovered. Nothing you can touch, nothing you can hold. But the Arctic is vast, cold, inhospitable. A perfect place for secrets.
Whether it's advanced technology from another age or just nature reminding us how little we truly understand, the mystery lingers, waiting